Syed Taha cleared PMP with all above target. He joined us in batch 11, which ended almost less than a month ago, and cleared PMP with all above target, people above target, process above target, business environment above target. Whenever anyone cleared PMP with all above target, their lessons must be learned. Anyone who wants to clear PMP, there are great lessons for them in that journey. So, Taha, first of all, congratulations from the entire PMP community. And we would love to know how you cleared PMP, what were the things. The mic belongs to you. Please share your journey with us.
Thank you very much, Amir. I think gratitude goes out to you first as well, because the way your program is structured, it's pretty good in a nutshell. It sets you up very well to go for your certification. I mean, I've been looking at doing the PMP for the best part of past, I think, 4 to 5, 6 years, and I had my exam scheduled twice, which I had to cancel because of operational needs. But this time I had a bit of a time window, and I'm like, you know what? Let's get after it. And I've been following you on LinkedIn for quite a, I think a couple of months, I suppose. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe this guy is legitimate, because generally I'm sort of risk averse. You could have all sorts of people on the internet. I'm like, nah, this guy looks okay. Let's see his videos. Saw those. I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's give it a shot. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did, because it has paid dividends. Because, like you said, I think it was your persistent follow up after the course as well that sort of kept us encouraged, and to not, to just be focused on it and get after it. So, it went well. Uh, a few things that probably I would recommend to others is, this is a brilliant crash course. When you get into this, you have to, because you're signing up as adults. So either you're all in or you're all out. Once you're in, you have to commit. You have to give it your time. I mean, to put it in perspective, I think the first weekend, I think Amir, I smashed like 60 hours between the class and studying after. So the only thing I could compromise on was my sleep. So, and I said, I'm only going to do this once, and I'm going to give it my everything. So, everything you said, okay, do your, first 50 questions, your second, your third, your mocks. I'm like, okay, let's just do, this guy is the expert. He knows what he's talking about. Let's take the lead and just, get after it. So, yeah, I think another thing that I probably learned was to try and not, like you say as well, not to assume unnecessarily too much. You got to be able to rely on your gut feeling as well. You need to sharpen that. You need to improve the skill for the question, the way you interpret, analyze the questions. And that only comes after you do your mocks or your questions and you do the root cause analysis. So that gives you how the question is shaped and what options, by the process of elimination, are probably the best. So I think that, and then the other thing was your mental endurance, because I haven't been to school in like, I don't know, 10 years now, maybe more. So it takes a bit to get into the routine, to be able to, study again, and understand things, and the memory retention side of things, amongst, all the other variables. Like, we all are at a age group where we've got other responsibilities as well outside of work and studies. So it's being able to manage that. But yeah, it's a mental endurance. I found that to be that needed work on, and which is where the mocks come in handy.
Okay, okay. So you have given the exam. So which mocks were more relevant? You did good amount of mocks. Which mocks were more
I
relevant?
Yeah, I think Amir, I did six mocks in all,
Hmm.
uh, and the two of those which you gave, the hardest ones, I don't remember the name off the top of my head. But then in terms of relevance, the prepcast ones,
Hmm.
those are pretty good
Hmm.
because. But then doing those difficult mocks sort of sets you up for. Raises the benchmark, the bar high. So when you actually go into the exam, you find it to be a bit more simpler, I would imagine. So
Okay.
which was the case. One thing that I would like to point out, though, that really caught me off guard was the way I prepared for the mocks, and how I would do it at home. The actual assessment people need to watch out is that you cannot read out loud.
Hmm.
You cannot move your
This
lips.
is this is very important. This is
Yeah.
very important, guys. What happened? Basically, Taha was reading at a high pace, and suddenly Taha was reading at like he was reading loud, and he got notification, we will cancel your account. And this is of course not allowed in the
Mhm.
real PMP exam, especially you are giving if you are giving in the home. So if you are giving in the home, you need to see that you need to prepare yourself before moving the exam, that you have a practice of not speaking aloud. Otherwise, you will have problem. You will have a big problem. So Taha, how did you counter that?
I So that ties into the 80-80-70 rule, for time management. So I said, okay, you know what? I mean, I was actually warned twice by the moderator, and I'm like, okay, I really have to work on this. So I just decided to slow down a bit, and you just have to adapt on the go. And once I got the hang of it, I think the first 15 to 20 questions took me a bit longer, but I knew that I could cover ground in the middle section, because the way, at least for me, it was the first section and the third section are probably the most difficult, because in the first you're still getting into the routine and being able to read. By the time you come into the middle section, you're in the zone mentally, and then by the time you come into the third section, you're starting to get mentally exhausted now. So I knew I'm gonna lose time here, but I'll catch up, make up for it in the next section, and which is what I did. So I think I did the middle section in probably about 60 minutes.
That is awesome. Just
Yes.
60 minutes. So how much
Yeah.
time you took for the first section, and how much time was remaining for the third one?
Yeah. So at the end of it, Amir, I think I had about 20 minutes left
Okay.
uh, when I finished. But the first section, I think I was about 85 minutes, 85 to 88 minutes, which still wasn't bad. I mean, if you go by your rule, right? But I said, let's just slow down, get into the zone, think it through. And, that's sort of did the trick. So, I mean, honest, I would highly recommend your approach, your course, your materials, your literature, and the way you persistently follow up after the course as well. Because I must admit, I was almost thinking, I'm like, okay, this is good. Now he's not gonna really follow up because he's probably gonna be busy with the next batch. But that wasn't the case. You still were on our case. So thanks for that.
No, that is my, you can say that my program is basically training and coaching. So that is my thing. Till you don't clear the exam, until you don't cross that line, and even after one interview that you are giving right now, I will be there following up with you. Okay. Taha, which area was more dominant in your exam? Stakeholder communication, team, risk, which was more dominant?
I don't recall much of risk. Stakeholder and team, I found that to be, coming up quite a bit. And more interestingly, what I found was that the third section was a bit more challenging, because especially I was hoping that it would sort of get easier by the final section, but it wasn't. I mean, the questions got a bit trickier, so I had to really sort of take my time in the third section as well.
Okay. Okay. Did you get any questions, formula questions?
None, none, not a single one. There were a couple on SPIs and CPIs, but then we didn't really have to do any calculation. It was okay, if this is your CPI, this is your SPI, then what are you supposed to do?
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. What about critical path? Were there any questions on critical path?
no, not, I didn't come across any on critical path or any related to float for
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay. That is good. And the agile, how much detail we went into agile? Was the scrum and the mindset of agile was enough, or do we need to know more about that?
No, no, I think the way you've covered it, that is plenty, because that sort of gives you a respect for the ceremonies, how the process works, and how items are time boxed, how you prioritize them. So the way you cover it, it's perfect,
Okay.
and yeah, I think it was quite comprehensive, and quite a lot came from that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Taha, your final advice for PMP aspirants.
don't delay it.
Don't
Don't
delay it.
yeah,
Well done. Good one. Good
don't
one. Yeah, good one.
don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Uh,
Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate. That's good.
yeah,
Taha, your batch is doing an awesome way. You can see daily your batch students are clearing. But now you need to assist maybe your batchmate, especially those people who are also living in Australia. So we have
mhm.
one or two people who are living in Australia. So you need to guide them, work
Yeah,
with them,
absolutely.
and make sure everyone clear the PMP exam.
No, absolutely. No, no, absolutely. So, look, I
Th-
mean, I
And,
wish you all the best to you
and
and your
same,
firm.
same to you. Thank you, Taha. Thank you very much. Bye
Thank you
bye.
very much. Thanks. Bye bye.